Hello, hello. I'm back. My name is Dr. Terri Alford. I am known as the Women's Wealth Strategist. I specialize in helping business owners build wealth and financial freedom so that we can live, lead, and leave multi-million dollar legacies. And on today, I have a question for you. Can God trust you with wealth? Can God trust you with wealth? I want you to ask yourself that as you're thinking about this year and what you want to happen over the next few years. I want you to think about that because many of us have been asking God for increase, overflow, elevation, financial freedom, breakthroughs, and all types of things. But many of us have not stop to ask, can God really trust me with the wealth that I am requesting? Am I mature enough to handle it? If I had that level of wealth, would I be out here acting a fool? like to be for real, can God trust you with the amount of money that you say that you want? If you say, you know what, I want to make $1 million a month. If you made $1 million a month, would God be able to trust you with that? Would you go out here and act a plum fool? Or would you continue to walk the path that he has set before you? Would you forget who he is and say, you know what? I got here all by myself. I know there's a verse in the Bible where a wise man said, God, do not let me be too broke to where I forget about you and I want to curse your name and I want to say bad things about you, but don't let me get too rich either to where I forget about you and I feel like I don't need you anymore. Can God trust you with wealth is the question. You see, we love to declare abundance and overflow and all of these amazing things over our lives, but abundance is not just a responsibility. Yes, I am the founder of the Attract Abundance and Retire Wealthy movement, but I know that it's not just something to receive, but it is something to take hold of and something that is not just a blessing, but it is a responsibility. It is a responsibility to have an abundance. It is a responsibility to live a life of overflow. And the truth is, God does not release the resources just based on your desires. He releases them based on your desires, your stewardship, and what He can trust you with. Because you need to take a pause. We need to take a pause and ask ourselves, is this something that I can hold right now? Can I hold it and not forget who I am? Can I hold it and not get distracted? Can I hold it and do what God has called me to do still with an overflow of abundance and wealth? God, He funds our assignments, not just our lifestyle. It's not just about living a life of luxury, traveling. You may say, Terri, but you live a luxurious life. I do, because I have time freedom. And I think time freedom is one of the best luxuries in the entire world to experience. I do live that type of a luxurious life. And I do travel the world. I've traveled across the country. I'm traveling all year long. But that's part of my assignment. It's not just because I want it, it's because of my assignment. So you need to be in alignment with your assignment and understand three key things as you are asking yourself if God can trust you with wealth, with the next level of wealth that you want. Because again, He's not just going to release the overflow to the people who have not done what they need to do without having the overflow. In other words, wealth is a test before you get your next level of blessings. So if you want to have more, you need to be a good steward of over what you already have. Let's say, for example, in this year, in 2026, God doubles your income. You double your income. You double your business revenue. Whatever you did in 2026, it doubles. It can double. It can triple. I'm living proof. What I made on my last job does not compare to what I make a year now. Okay? So I want you to think about it. Can he trust you with what you have now? With what you have now, are you managing your money appropriately? Are you mishandling your money? What are you doing with the income that you have now? What are you doing with the opportunities that you have now? You're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could speak on these big stages. Oh my gosh, I wish I could speak on this podcast. Oh my gosh, I wish I could go across the waters and be able to perform in front of hundreds and thousands of people who are shouting my name. But you have 30 people who want to experience your gifts and you looking over them. You don't want to help the 30 that's saying, help me, that's saying, sing to me, that's saying, teach me, train me, choose me. So until you be faithful over the few things that you have, he's seeing you as not being ready for the millions, for the multitude, for the many that you're looking for. Think about the access that you already have. You're not managing your relationships right sometimes, and that's why you're not getting to where you want to be. And managing your relationships does not mean, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to say I'm friends with the person because I know a person. No, if you want to know a person, you got to get to know a person, like for real. Get to know them, spend time with them, support them. Support their event, support their birthday, support whatever it is. A smile will go a long way. A text message, how are you doing, will go a long way. I made a call last night. Y'all, I promise y'all, lately, I've been seeing faces. I've been seeing names. And God has been showing me, you need to reach out to this person. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And I get convicted because I promise y'all, before 24 hours pass, I'm going to end up seeing that person in my news feed. I don't have to say their name. I don't have to write their name. I don't have to express their name in any type of way. And they're going to show up in my news feed. And it's like God is saying, reach out to them. So I called a woman yesterday who I've been meaning to call for the last 3 weeks. And so when she showed up on my timeline, I had a thought actually yesterday. I was like, I need to call so-and-so. So literally like 30 minutes later, she showed up on my timeline. I said, wait a minute, on my news feed. I'm like, she ain't showed up on my news feed in a long time. Let me just stop what I'm doing in between my Zoom calls and give her a call. And lo and behold, y'all, she was in the hospital last week. She was in the hospital last week. She actually, let me back up. She had an operation last week. She failed 3 weeks ago when she was on my mind to call. She failed 3 weeks ago. Hurt herself, had to have an operation, and now she is healing. She's in a healing process. And I'm like, dang, girl, you've been on my mind. And so we had a great conversation last night. And our conversation and our connection actually started from us connecting on a virtual event. We connected on a virtual event. I told her more about what I'm doing. She told me more about what she's doing. She has supported my business. She has spoken at my events. Her company has sponsored my conference in the past. Like we've had incredible connections, but I said, you know what? I need to call her. I haven't talked to her since November. And when I called her, I said, you know what? Let me continue to be intentional about being a great steward of the access and the relationships that I had. Because before that conversation was over, she was like, I need some people who can help me with X, Y, and Z. And I was able to give her referrals of people who can help her with X, Y, and Z. So that helps them be able to get more business. Do you understand what I'm saying? How are you managing the access that you have now? Ask yourself that. How are you managing the access that you have now? I am in the insurance industry. I do insurance and retirement planning. I do business consulting as well. And many people in the life insurance space, especially, buy leads. I don't buy leads. I was speaking to an executive today of an organization. I said, I don't buy leads. I've never bought leads, ever, ever, ever. Have I had to run ads to get clients? And he's like, man, that's incredible. It is incredible. I attract abundance. That's what I do. And before I even put a name to attracting abundance, I was actually doing the work. I was making the connections. I was deepening the connections and the relationships that I have. So I am encouraging you to take a look at all of the things that you have, your talents, your treasure, your time, and think about how you are managing your time that you have now. And if you're not doing the best job at being a good steward, put that on your to-do list for this quarter. Do not let this first quarter end. And even if you're watching the replay quarters later, do not let the current quarter that you're in without you putting measures in place to be a stronger steward over what you already have. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, again, I mentioned this before, God funds your assignment, not your lifestyle. It's not about you having a lifestyle. Like, look, y'all, when I say things, I think of a song. So I was like, did a lot just to live this lifestyle. Hey, like, yeah, it's great, right? You live the lifestyle that you live. However, that's not what God is focused on. He is focusing on releasing your next level of wealth because you have an assignment. Money is a tool for impact. When I work with my clients, I let them know I'm going to help you increase your income, your influence, and your impact. It's not just about your personal upgrade. You have to ask yourself, if I made more money, would I be more generous? If I made more money, would I be more selfish? If I made more money, would I spend more time with God or less time with God? You're not spending time with God now. You make more money, you think you're going to spend more time with God, you're going to spend more money and live your best life. If he thinks that, then guess what? That could be holding up your progress. So become a better steward of what you have now, right? Become a better steward of what you have now. What happens with our community a lot of times is that we'll get the raise, we'll get the increase in income, we'll get the overflow, and instead of reinvesting the money, we spend the money like we upgrade our cars, we upgrade our houses, we upgrade how we spend the money instead of investing the money so that the money can make more money. A wise man that I met from being in a mastermind, he was telling his story one day, and he said before he got to $1 million a month, he was like, I want to get to $1 million a month. I want to get to $1 million a month. Before he got to $1 million a month, he decided that he was going to reinvest 70% of his income back into his business. 70% of the business revenue, let me say it that way, back into the business until he got to $1 million a month. How much are you reinvesting back into your business? How much are you reinvesting back into yourself? How much are you reinvesting back into your family, your business, your finances, your marriage, your children, their future? Do you have $1 million baby plan? Like, ask yourself that. I made a post, I think it was last year, or it could have been the year before last because the years are flying by so fast. I made a post one day and people were like, Terry, you are crazy. I was like, good morning to everybody except the people who prioritize getting a BBL over looking at getting $1 million baby plan and making sure that your children are positioned to not have to get it out the mud like you did. People are like, oh my gosh, did she say that? Yes, I said it. Because priorities need to be the focus for 2026. Like, what are your priorities? What are you building towards? If your vision for your finances is surrounded by how much vacation time you want to have, or just the vacations, the handbags, the being able to stun on people, being able to show people what you've been able to accomplish and how far you have come, like, that's great. However, what are you doing that for? Are you doing that to inspire people? Are you doing that to motivate people? Are you doing that because that's a part of your assignment, or is it all about you? Because what you can do is you can make more money. You can have an increase in your income and still not be building wealth. Like, can I be real about it? I don't see any comments here, but I'm gonna say, if this is good, put a "this is good" in the comment section. If you're watching the replay, type #replay. If you can relate, put a "I can relate." If I say something that you know you needed to hear, just put "I needed to hear this." Okay. You can make more money and still not have more money. Your business can double in revenue and you still be losing money. You can actually need to close your business, and your business is making multiple six figures or millions of dollars a year, and you are still in the red because you are not appropriately managing what you have. You're not measuring what you have. You're not reinvesting that money, reinvesting that time, and using your resources wisely so that you can see the great return on your investment. As I mentioned before, I'm a financial consultant. If you need a free Retire Wealthy consultation, book a time with the link that's going across the bottom of the screen, or you can use the link in the comment section. I think I'm just about full for the month of February, but I have plenty of time in March. Let's get you together while we're in this first quarter. Okay. So again, wealth is something we can pray for, but God gives us the power to build wealth. He wants us to have it. He wants us to have it. He don't want us to be struggling. God don't get glory out of that. He gets the glory out of you being able to say, this was my story, right? The elevation, the transformation. Like, he wants that, but he's not going to give it to you if he can't trust you with it. Yeah, you may, like I said, you may make more money, but you won't have more money. You may be investing more money, but you won't have a greater return on your investment. You may have more time, but it's not going to feel like you have more time because you cannot be trusted with true wealth yet. You got to learn how to be a good steward over what you have so that God can make you be able to be in position to receive millions, to multiply millions, to impact millions, to grow millions. When y'all hear me say you should have six-figure retirement streams over six-figure retirement dreams, I'm talking about millions. Because if you make six figures for 10 years, that's $1 million. If you feel like you need six figures to live comfortably, you need to position yourself to save enough money, to multiply enough money so that when you do retire, you can have six-figure retirement streams coming in. You can have at least $1 million in your retirement nest egg, a couple million, a few million, 10 million in your retirement nest egg. It's not going to happen on accident, though. It's going to happen because you are being intentional in how you're building your legacy. You're building your wealth story brick by brick, brick by brick. The third point that I'm going to make is stewardship is the bridge between faith and overflow. It's good to have the faith. And I kind of said this many ways. It's good to have the faith. It's great to want the overflow, but you got to have the structure. Because if you just have faith and say, oh, I'm going to have it this year, it's going to be my year, I'm going to have this, and y'all had to have a real conversation with the lady the other day. She told me she was going to have like 10 million in her retirement plan, and she is starting with zero. Is it possible? Absolutely. But I was like, what's the plan? Well, I know God has shown me it's going to happen. What's the plan? What's the strategy? Where's your financial dream team? Where is your support team to help you bring forth this vision? Because you're not going to do it by yourself. You're not supposed to do it by yourself. If you have faith and you don't have the financial dream team and the financial systems and the expertise, and I'm not saying you have to have all the expertise, that's why you got to have a team. You may have finances, but you're going to have leakage. You're going to have loss. You're going to have inflation in the market, but then your lifestyle may become inflated. And now your expenses have gone through the roof and you have not been paying attention. And now you're like, okay, wait a minute. What happened? I'm still living sale to sale. I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. When you can be seen as a trustworthy steward, you're not just tithing, you're not just sowing, you're not just praying, but you are also insuring. Insurance is important. That's a biblical principle. I hate when people say life insurance is a scam. Sidebar, life insurance is not a scam. You should have life insurance. You are to have something in place so that your children and your children's children can be taken care of. That's a biblical principle. When you are a trustworthy steward, you invest, you protect, and you plan. Because to ask God to multiply your resources and to expand your territory and not position yourself to manage the overflow is showing that you may be a little immature in that area. In order to get the overflow, you want to make sure that you're preparing for it because it's coming. If you are doing the right things, if you're operating in faith, if you're sowing the right way, the overflow is coming. Make sure that you can handle the overflow. Make sure that you can hold the overflow. Make sure when you have the overflow, you are emotionally intelligent to know when to say yes and when to say no. Let me talk about Glorilla real quick. Let me talk about Brorilla real quick, because you are going to get to a point in your business and in your life where you're going to make more money than you ever made before. And if you did not have financial boundaries before, you sure not going to have financial boundaries when you get your overflow. So you are going to have to say, I'm saying yes to this. I'm saying no to that. When people see you with more, that's great. That should give them the fire for them to do more, not to latch on to you like a leech and think that they are entitled to what you have. You get to choose what you give and what you don't give. You're not obligated to give beyond what you are able to afford to give. I saw an article or something one day, and it was like Glorilla's, I think her net worth is between 1 and 5 million. Phenomenal for a woman her age, which is, I think she's 27, 26 years old. That's great that net worth for her is between $1 million and $5 million. However, if Glorilla decides to retire today, and if she is 26 or 27 years old and she lives to be 96, that means she has 70 years that she needs to live. That $5 million is not going to give her the same quality of life that she has now for 70 years. Let me do some math on that. Because this is how I teach my clients to look at their numbers and think about the future, because people are living longer. And inflation makes the cost of living go up. And the cost of living is different in different cities. So let's say if she's 26, she lives to be 96, she needs this $5 million. Let's just say she had $5 million. You divide 5 million by 70. So that is $71,428 to live off of every year. She ain't as rich as you thought she was now, is she? Now, is she doing better than most? Yes. But to put it in perspective, she just can't give every person in her extended family and immediate family however much money they want, because $71,000 a year is not going to be enough for her to live and pay her managers and do whatever else it is that she got to do as she live her life. So we got to look at it like that. When you are looking at what you have, you're not to spend it down. You're not to give it all away. Yes, you can give. I'm not telling you to be selfish, but you got to count the costs. Because again, I'm going to say it one more time how I got to this number. If Glorilla has $5 million in her retirement nest egg, and that is her net worth, and that is all she has, and she lives to be 96 years old and she doesn't make another dime, if she has $5 million to last her for 70 years, that's $71,000 a year for her to live off of. Not bad. That's more than the average person in America makes, $71,000. But that means that she can't just go out and just start passing out $2,500 to everybody that want it. You got to be a good steward with what you have. Now, y'all may be like, hey, wait a minute. I thought you was talking about can God trust you with wealth? How you start talking about Glorilla? Because a little bit of everybody watch these lives, right? Some of y'all understand the biblical point of view, and some of y'all understand what's happening out in the world. I'm bringing it together so you can understand no matter where you are, God still needs to be able to trust you with wealth in order for you to truly build wealth, not just make more money, but be able to build wealth. So I hope that you have found this to be inspirational, educational, motivational. And if you didn't watch it from the beginning, go back and watch it from the beginning. Hey, Destiny said you better tell it. Destiny, no, right? Sometimes we got to use the Bible. Sometimes we got to use the rap industry. I just want to make sure y'all understand. Like, that's one of my giftings. And I know it's a gift. And I know that I'm to use my gift the way that I use my gift. One of my gifts is to teach. I am a teacher. I took a spiritual gift test. I already knew. I was like, teaching and leadership. That's it. Teaching. That's the first thing. Because I am known as a person that breaks things down so that even a child can understand it. And so I am here not to use all the sophisticated language. I am here to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from when I say that I am here to help you attract abundance and retire wealthy. I am here to help you up level your mindset, your money, and your movement. I am here to help you be able to increase your income, your impact, and your influence. And I am the Women's Wealth Strategist. I specialize in helping you build wealth and financial freedom so that we can live, lead, and leave multi-million-dollar legacies. If you found this to be beneficial and you want to reach out to me, you can send me a direct message. If you want to have a conversation, you can send me a text message to 903-224-6151. If it's during the time that I have that line, you'll be able to reach me directly, or you will reach my assistant and we will schedule a call. All right? That's it. That's all. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I thank you for watching this video. And if you don't know, I actually have a podcast now. I have a podcast. I want you to subscribe. Even if you are listening to this video on the podcast, you say, wait a minute, I'm listening to the podcast. I want you to subscribe, right? I want you to subscribe on YouTube, and I want you to go to Spotify and do me a favor and follow me on Spotify and give me a 5-star rating. If this has been beneficial to you, if you have heard any of my lives and you're like, you know what, you give good content, I want your message and I want your movement to reach more people, just go on Spotify, give me those 5 stars and continue to tap in. Oh, Mikio, thank you very much, oh, Mikio. I appreciate it. You know. I hope that I have inspired you all on today and have given you some things to think about on your wealth building journey. And I hope that you all, again, have an amazing weekend. I will talk to y'all very soon. Adios.